Antlers, assumption, and artillery. It's not funny, Holly protests to the silent but smiling Bjorn as they walk through the arcology. Up ahead, there's a restaurant that claims to cater from everything from Canador to Carib, and since Holly's a Carib, it sounds like a great place to start. I said nothing. Bjorn replies even as Holly's stomach gurgles in hunger once more. That's totally normal. When your stomach is empty and you're as strong as me, your muscles push in on it and make a gurgling sound. I don't think that's how it works, at all. Bjorn replies with the amusement carefully drawn out of his tone and a big old smile on his face. Then he frowns as his communicator starts buzzing in a specific pattern. A communication from the Dauntless, non-priority, but still. What's going on? Is something wrong? Holly asks, unable to read the English that the words are in. Just a breakthrough in some techniques that concern me. Or, as is described here, we're idiots. We're fucking idiots. Why didn't we see this before? God damn it, we skipped like 50 steps out of 52. And of course we missed this, my God, we're so stupid, it just keeps going. The boys in the nerd squad are really pissed with themselves. What's it about? Holly asks, and Bjorn snorts. Deactivating Axiom brands. They default to on, but you can turn them off. Apparently no one told the nerd squad, and now they're lambasting themselves as fools, Bjorn says comfortably as he pockets the communicator. Wait, isn't the brand a source of a lot of your protection? Holly asks, and he nods. When did you turn it off? Not long ago, I was judging the temperature outside and then let it reactivate. You'll notice that even though I was trying to resist shivering for a while, I just grew comfortable in the cold, beyond what mere exercise would pull off. Oh, I thought you were using Axiom normally, Holly remarks, and Bjorn snorts in amusement. I'm human. We don't do normal, he replies and startles a giggle out of her. So what do you think of Renraku so far? What if I hate it? She asks, and he scratches his head. Then I'll put in a request to change our location. I'm not sure how it will take to get something done about it, but I'm not just going to sit on my hands with that kind of complaint. Although to be fair, it's likely we'll only be shifted to another arcology here on Zalwar, Bjorn says, and Holly sighs as she looks around, scanning the area of tile floors, walls whose outer coverings shift depending on the store, and the high vaulted ceiling. It reminds Bjorn of being inside a multi-storied shopping mall, just with floors for days and days. And if it's being in the arcologies that's giving me problems, then we have a problem. We only have a real grip on Centris and Zalwar. Those are the only places we can easily make secure. What about that other world, Vuka 5? Holly asks. Still being consolidated. Duchess Lilpaw has control of the world, but she's still getting used to it. The position there is still very tenuous, and the planet is not easily defended at this point. It's considerably safer on Centris, which is a no-go as it's straight-up infested, and here on Zalwar. Zalwar has problems too, just because you haven't seen them. I think I have. A lot of these shops have a small nick in the front door near the top right. One or two fresh ones is a vandal running around. But more than half of them have the exact same type of damage in the exact same place, and a lot of them are very old, meaning it's not vandalism so much as a marker. Half the stores around here are part of something. What are they part of? Holly asks, and Bjorn shrugs. It's far too early to say. I've sent my observations back to the base, so the intelligence officers we have with us will have something to keep them busy if nothing else. Bjorn notes. You're not scared? Holly asks, thinking to numerous hidden torture centers that Darla had made Knife Top participate in. She flinches at the half-remembered scene of bones breaking under her fists and knowing for a fact that short of a cybernetic replacement or a healing coma, then the limb would never be used again. You all right? Bjorn asks, concern in his tone despite his Axiom presence still being nothing more than the strange flicker that was the marking on his left shoulder. She focuses on the tone. Even machines had a presence. Just a bad memory, she says, and he puts a calm hand on her shoulder. Sympathy and concern are written clearly across his face, and she shakes for a moment before hugging him. It's okay. It's over. We're here now, light years away, and you have me to keep that madness away. Okay. I'm okay, Holly assures herself, and Bjorn can feel her calm down in his arms. Then her grip shifts from his back to his backside. And you're more than okay, little man. What do you say we work up an appetite to really make our lunch hit the spot? No, Holly, I'm on duty, Bjorn says as he slowly pries open Holly's grip. She resists somewhat, but not in a way to actually stop him, just to let him know that if she wasn't playing, he would have a much harder time. She takes a step back and grins at him impudently. Feel better? He asks, and she nods. Great, let's get some lunch. The restaurant is labeled as Mama Massive's Meal Market. Apparently, it's a fairly popular chain the galaxy over that makes a point to have both the most comfortable ranges of food and the most dangerous, which in this case is Canador to Carib. Hey there! Welcome to Mama Massive's Meal Market. What can I do for you? Romantic side booth for two? No. Bjorn begins, and Holly's hand clamps over his mouth. Yes, please. Really? The waitress asks with a curious expression on her face. He's too serious, and I'm trying to get him to crack. Romantic booth for two with soft music, please, Holly insists. Really? Bjorn mutters into Holly's hand. Really? Holly answers him, and the waitress giggles but jots down a note to keep an eye on this couple just in case things were going wrong. You're trying too hard. Bjorn notes as they sit down in their booth and soft music from some twangy instrument that sounds vaguely like someone plucking a cello starts singing out. Am I? Holly asks with a giggle, aware that the waitress is listening in just in case she's thought to be abusing Bjorn, something that both amuses and depresses her at the same time. She chooses to focus on the amusement. Holly, I do appreciate that you find me so attractive, but I am on the job. I can't afford to react to all your flirting and teasing. If someone were to attack you, then I have to be able to respond in an instant and think with a clear head. All the flirting does is get in the way of that. Sergeant Veers, you are a professional soldier, and you yourself have described your training as the type that allows only the best of the best through. If anything, I'm not trying hard enough, she replies, and there's a slight giggle from the waitress. Well, that's someone's fears alleviated. Wait, what is this? Bjorn asks, poking the edge of the table. I think I saw this before. His seat then raises up, and he has a baffled, then delighted look on his face as he presses a few more buttons on the edge of the table and adjusts his seat up and down before almost jumping at one of his little experiments. What made you jump? I cranked up the heat through the roof. I can sense that your brand is active. Heat won't hurt you. No, but I still feel it. Massively adjustable seats to accommodate all the different races and their sizes and shapes. A smart little innovation. I have to say, I love all the little reminders that your race is new to the galaxy. Anyone can claim to be new at something or somewhere, but you outright start messing around with clear glee on your face. Reminds me how this life is as fresh to you as it is to me. Holly remarks, you spend so much time being stoically cool, I almost forget how cute you can be too. Cute? I'm a grown man. I don't do cute. Bjorn protests with his arms crossed and a raised up eyebrow. I don't know, hun. You look plenty cute to me, the waitress says as she arrives with the menus. Anyways, I took a shot in the dark and brought you a Canador menu and your girl here a proper Carib one. You're one of those humans, aren't you? I am indeed. Good call. Bjorn compliments her and she flashes a massive smile at him. None of that. I'm on duty. No time for that. See, that's the problem with human bodyguards. You get a hunk and a half right in front of you that's too serious to respond. Holly protests, gesturing to Bjorn with a mournful look to the waitress, who bursts into giggles. "Oh, you poor girl. It's like having a huge meal in front of a starving girl that she's not allowed to touch. But speaking of starving, I'll be back in a couple of minutes to help feed the more mundane appetites." While another part of me is forced to go hungry, Holly moans dramatically. Tone down on the thirst, Holly. Bjorn scolds her as he scans the menu. He decides he's going to see what a spiced land rack tastes like. Hopefully, the utterly bizarre things being listed will modify the flavor. Besides, he still needs to make up his mind on what to think about it. It's good, but where to place it between pork, ham, chicken, turkey, goose, beef, bacon, salmon, tuna, and other such meats? Where is it in the hierarchy of meals? Inquiring minds have got to know. "Thirst nothing. I'm hungry for man meat," she says blatantly, and the waitress gasps at how over the top that was. If I didn't know better, I'd swear that was a threat of cannibalism. He mocks her, and she pouts. "Just the ultra-sized four-nin salad, please." Holly says, passing the menu back, and Bjorn quickly nods. "The blood chomper special for me," Bjorn says. "Also, could we have a pitcher of water and glasses brought to the table? My kind have a heavy water intake level." "Of course," the waitress says, before all but skipping off. Bjorn leans to the side and watches her go. "So they do have tails. I'd wondered." He had heard of the 4 armed rabbit women before, but since their official name was rabbis, he hadn't really believed the stories about them. Sure, it was easily probable that something in galactic trade would sound like an Earth word, but it still sounded like someone was trying to make an anti-Semitic joke. Why did you wonder? Basic curiosity, nothing more. He says, not mentioning that her basically looking like a Playboy bunny with all the silicone and an extra set of arms had started a train of thought that he had to ruthlessly press down on. After all, he was trying to resist the advances of a woman with just as much packing under a layer of fur on top of a mountain of muscle and literally magic antlers. Holly's eyebrows go up as Bjorn takes on a pole-axed expression for a moment, and a look of wide-eyed contemplation before shaking his head and returning to his usual steely-eyed focus. "What was that about?" she asks. "Just how odd life has gotten. I knew heading into space would be strange, but no amount of training could have prepared me for how different the galaxy is. At times, when I get thinking about it, it all seems to crash down on me and I feel overwhelmed. But only for a moment. I have a job to do and it gives me something to focus on." "Oh ho, so without the job you wouldn't... Wait, without the job we wouldn't have met and then... Wait, Holly says, and Bjorn snorts in amusement. "That's right. My being on duty is part of the package, and the duty gets in the way of the entertainment. Well, if we could take you off duty, then I get recalled to the Dauntless, or assigned to help with recruitment and training." Bjorn cuts of that line of thought, and she sticks her tongue out at him. "Been looking up human gestures, have we? I had to do something on that boring flight over from Centris." Holly rebukes, and he snorts in amusement. "So how many of the naughty words have you learned?" Bjorn teases, "Some." She responds, and he chuckles. "Ah, and how soon will I be hearing them?" "Depends. How soon until you give me cause?" she asks with a saucy wink, and he shakes his head. The only real question he has at this point is if his assertion that boils down to not here and not now have actually penetrated. Either way, she's going to get a surprise when they get back to their quarters. He sent a few texts asking just for confirmation, and he's in the clear, with some good-natured mockery from the opposite side as well. As if making sure he was 100% in the clear was a bad thing. "If it's any comfort, I doubt your mom will suddenly forget about you or refuse to help. Sure, the baby will need a lot of attention, but it won't be taking all of it. But I've always been her youngest. What will it mean to not have that kind of help anymore? Well, I suppose the only thing to do is teach you so that you won't need it. Everyone leaves home eventually, so why not you? I miss so much, though, I don't think I can ever catch up. To who? What? Oh, sorry, to whom? Bjorn says, using a slightly more formal lilt in his tone to get the point across. I don't understand. Who are you trying to catch up to? What standard are you trying to meet? What great magical marker on the road of life are you trying to reach? What are you trying to say? What are you trying to catch up to? Is there someone you want to do better than? Is there some goal you have to accomplish by this point in your life? Accomplished doctor, married and with a child? That sort of thing? Bjorn asks, and Holly blinks. But what about other people? What about them? What would other people think? Well, I don't care. Your mother just wants you safe, and who else is there? Is there someone you're trying to impress? Well, no,